All you Warhammer players, and welcome to the Yaw. Today it's me, Jeremy, all day 40k Nakano, here with my brother Bettingfield. Where can they find you on the internet, Joey?
Oh, that's Bettingfield Painting over on the old Instagrams.
Right, you can always find me over on TikTok, all day 40k. Otherwise, I am also on the Best in Tabletop Monday night stream where we do Rogue Trader RPG, which has been really fun so far. So if you guys want to come check that out. Otherwise, you found us in the right place. This week, we are going over RTTs from this past weekend, and then we'll be getting into, of course, tournament prep for the Storm of Silence, which is coming up here on the weekend of May 17th,
17, 18. Yeah.
17th, up in Spokane, Washington. There are still tickets. It is I believe, double golden ticket event. So
that is what was announced. I don't know the full process for acquiring, for an event acquiring golden tickets and how that whole situation works for them. But I know that they were approved for 2, so I would assume that is still what they're using.
Most likely. They gave away 2 last year, so I can't imagine they're not doing the same this year. So that's really exciting overall. That said, I had 2 RTTs, you had 1 this past weekend, where we have been working on our lists for this event. But before we get into that, we should probably talk about any kind of hobby that we've been doing.
Yeah, and before we do that, it might just be me, but it appears that your sound is wavering a little bit.
Is my sound wavering? Sorry, it's the mic's placement is often weird. So we'll do this.
See, it was right. It was like that. It's just like every couple of words you get really quiet and then it comes back. It might be me.
No, it's probably the mic.
Okay.
So it happens from time to time. Hopefully it comes through okay.
Right.
We'll see.
Alrighty. But yeah, so before we get into the tournaments, we're doing hobby stuff?
Yeah, let's talk about hobby. So what have you been working on, Joey?
I've been working on the grossest little blue boy that you've seen, which is the Soul Grinder.
Okay.
Getting him more ready. My list became battle ready by the definition of those rules. For the RTT this past weekend, but for a GT, I'd like to be a little bit more done and clear cut with everything. I really don't like doing just meeting the minimum for things, which I don't really like doing for the RTTs either. But time is time. So
there is a certain, that's the best way to put it. I hate it. Seeing people show up with armies that have they're primed with they colored the tip of the spear, and the hair, and they're 3 colors, and then they just put a dusting of sand on the base or whatever. And you're where's your love for this hobby, dude? Where is I don't understand.
Yes,
just try a little. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be
just
done,
a little.
Right?
Yep.
And there's a line.
Yeah, there is a line. And I did get one little comment like that at the event because somebody commented on the Soul Grinder and they were like, "Oh, look, that's just barely done." And I was like, all right, first off, yeah, the legs are silver and that makes it look weird. But there's 4 colors on the body because I did all of the airbrush skin highlighting and everything is already done. It's actually just detail work that needs to get done, his sword and shit. Soul Grinders just don't have that much on him unless you want to go in and paint every joint and shit on his legs, which I'm just not going to do.
Fair enough.
So.
Yep. Glad to hear that he's coming along. Is he still in pieces?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to glue him when he's done. He's in less pieces than he was in our game.
Oh, good. His leg fell off in our game.
His leg did fall off. Yeah, so his leg has been fixed. And his torso is just not glued. I'm not going to do that until I'm done painting him.
Yeah.
So, but between him and the Lord of Change, old Toucan Sam, we're working on it.
Oh, that's right. He did look very toucan
Well,
adjacent.
it's a parrot. It's very much not toucan, but it's fine. He is parrot themed.
Okay, well, he's cute. So good job.
Thank you.
Glad to hear them coming along. I have built and painted a speeder in the last couple of days.
I
Um,
saw that.
Trying to make it look fun and interesting is hard for that model specifically.
Yes.
So what I did is I just built a slanty base, and then I'm going to have it kind of adjacent or
Yeah.
parallel to that slanty base. And that should be enough. It's not modeled for advantage or anything of the sort. It doesn't
Yeah.
look ridiculous. So I just have to paint the
Right.
base up and we should be good.
Which is what we can hope for with honestly, like, how do I put it? Non-dynamic models.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything with a flight stand kind of sucks.
Yep. Yeah, because I don't want to call it like it's not a boring model. It's a very nice model. It just doesn't lend itself to exciting basing, which is
Not a lot of room
kind of
for
the
a
nature of it.
tactical rock on
No,
a speeder, sadly.
no. Unless you go like all out and like pull out all the stops and you made it where like the little bottom wing is what's glued onto the rock and you don't use a flight stand and all that shit. But that's so much work.
Yeah, and also at that point you risk like modeling for advantage. Because it's lower than it should be and probably
Yeah.
angled
You
weird.
also risk just far, far more painful like model breaks.
Also that because
You're not fixing that at an event.
Nope. It's not just something getting clipped off a base, it's literally pieces falling off. So
Yep.
woof. Anyway, we managed to make it work. It's just a matter of finishing the base and we can move forward. And that will be a part of likely what I end up bringing to Storm this month.
Nice. Which is good. I like those. I like that model. Its rules. It's a good unit.
Yeah, Hammer Strike specifically as a unit, just like shredding cover is just such a good mechanic for when you have, Vindicators in particular, because then people can't negate it and they're at worst or at best it's like, okay, well, it's still AP3. Good luck with that,
Yeah, because it really or even just mass amounts of AP1. I mean, you have a pretty decent amount of AP1 stuff, and then
more than a little, yeah.
AP0 is just awful, and then like you go into the Marine matchup, and even the AP3 gets weird, where you're like, oh, it's AP3, but you have cover, and then you armor a contempt.
Exactly.
And then now you just live.
Yeah.
So
this helps punch up into those things that are super high save or like a 2-up, and at least always push it to an invul. So that's exciting for me. I've had a hammer or a hail strike that I rescued forever ago. That I've never put on the table because it looks so terrible. Like it's a Blood Angels thing, like it's just red with like 2 colors on it. Awful.
Sure.
But one day I'll actually fix it up.
One of these days.
One day. We'll see. But let's talk about the tournament over at the Real Deal, buddy.
Let's do it.
So this past Saturday, on the 26th, was that Real Deal over in...
was the day.
Real Deal over in Coeur d'Alene. And it is specifically an event to help people prep for the storm, because that's coming up in the next few weeks. And of course, we showed up, as we are, and there were, I would say, probably like 4 competition lists, I would say roughly. The rest were some pretty good experimentals. I think mine barely qualified as a competition list, to be totally fair, because I was trying a silly brick out. But, it is what it is.
Sure.
So before we get going, Joey, tell us about your list.
So I played a little bit of Scintillating Legion, which, as much as it sounds, isn't Slanesh, it's Tzeentch.
So, yeah, it's Shooty Demons.
Shooty Demons, which is super fun. like explaining the list and explaining what the detachment does to people, and them going, well, and you were standing there when I was explaining it to Paul, and he was like, "Oh, you don't have that much shooting though." I'm like, "Oh, but I do."
But I do.
But what if I told you everything shoots?
Right.
Well, almost. I have one unit that doesn't shoot. So anyway, so my list is a perfect 2,000 points, which is the second best amount of points that you can have. So we have Bellicor, who is the warlord because he must be, and also because he's the fucking coolest. We
He is a
have
badass.
He is. I did, and we'll talk about it more, but I did notably use to like actually game important effect all of his changes. So
Okay.
we'll go over
Wow.
it because there were some things I didn't catch until I used them, and then I read it and was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh dear.
So then we have Karos, who is also just so good. I don't super want to say it, but I will because I know that there are people that play against demons and they don't like them. You. Uh, Karos probably should not be 270 points. He's a bit crazy.
He's a little cheap for what he does.
He's a little cheap.
Yeah.
Little cheap.
Weapons are too
So
good. Yeah. Just it's a lot of stuff.
he gives you CP
Take
and has
CP
a vet.
away.
Like,
Yeah.
he's wild.
Yeah,
He's so wild.
it's too much base for that powerful of an aura, and just the fact that he is a greater demon makes him
He should
immeasurably
probably be
tough.
3.
At least.
I think 3 is fair.
Yeah. 3 is a much better number.
Yep.
Because of just his innate survivability and
It's a lot.
the output that they put out.
He has a surprising amount of output. But then we have a Lord of Change with a Rod of Sorcery because I like just a little bit more shooting. And then he has the enhancement, the Improbable Shield, which is not what most people are taking if I only have room for one enhancement because this is my only non-epic hero.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like others. The detachment has fantastic enhancements, but this is a 6-inch aura of a 4-up Feel No Pain for psychic attacks and mortal wounds. It's insane.
It's pretty good.
All weekend, I took 0 damage from explosions, which there were multiple,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't care. I failed a handful of hazardous tests, and I either re-rolled them with the fate dice, or I just took the 3 damage and rolled my Feel No Pains. So
That sounds really nice. Way to go.
it's pretty wild. It is Zinch only, so Bellicor doesn't get it. That's fine. It's wild. It also makes me not afraid of grenades, which demons generally are.
Right. It's one of the only things that a lot of armies can put into you reliably.
Right, and that's what you're trying to do, right? Is you're like, okay, well, here's my 6 dice, and I'm hoping to do 3, and it'll be really cool if I do 4 or 5, and you're gonna be lucky if you do 2.
Yeah. Which is wild.
And doesn't feel good. Also, in that instance, that grenade probably cost you 2 CP. But
in every instance, because they never leave each other's side.
No, they don't. They don't leave each other's side. They're best friends. So then we go down to Battle Line, which, man, have my eyes been open to infiltrating Battle Line? Good God.
It's pretty good.
So I have 2 units of Blue Horrors and 1 unit of Demonettes because I still think Demonettes are fantastic for their point cost, regardless of not receiving any buffs in the detachment.
Well,
and for the most part, they just sat on my home objective and screened my back corner, and I'm okay with spending 100 points to do that.
yeah, totally. That's super normal. I mean, every Space Marine player does the same
Every
exact
Space Marine
thing
player,
with infiltrators.
Exactly. I just get to cover. I mean, I guess I cover about the same amount of the battlefield because I don't have a 12-inch aura, but I have more models.
Correct. Yeah.
So, anyway, we've got that. So then going into the rest of this list here, we have. I'm going to go from bottom to top because the thing that shows up on the top of the app is the thing that I'm most unsure about.
Okay.
But on the bottom, we have the Zinch Soul Grinder. Such a good lad. Um, he's I wanted it for. I tried the Demon Prince. I wasn't, which we talked about. I wasn't super impressed with it. Part of that was because I just didn't have the matchups that make him effective, and then, I mean, that's pretty much the only part of it. I just didn't have the
Yeah.
matchups that made him super effective. Um, so I wanted another melee threat other than Be'lakor.
Okay.
So looking at everything to get another big monster, he's also T11, so it gives me another high toughness, strong melee threat in the list for not a big point advantage. I mean, he's the Demon Prince with the wings and the sword is 200 and the Soul Grinder is 180. So I actually got to save some points by making the change.
Right.
His shooting gets buffed by the Lord of Change because he's inch marked. He gets the Feel No Pain. I really don't have a problem with him. He's great. He was fantastic. I then have 2 units of Screamers who were quite possibly the highest performing unit of the event.
I agree with that entirely.
They are. I don't like. I know I'm going to have matchups that they don't do anything. The matchups I had this weekend, they were unreasonably good.
Way too good. I don't know how they did what they did, how they lived as long as they did, but goodness gracious, did they do work, at least into me.
So much work. They were wild. And like the caveat for our game is like, I don't know what it is about you and me and you playing jump pack intercessors, but I will kill them with something that shouldn't kill them.
Right?
It's really weird, but that is what happens.
Yep.
But I went into Knights game 1 and I went into Knights game 3. And they
Oh,
went
they
wild.
are stellar in that matchup because they're going to ignore them. We're like, oh, I have anti-vehicle 4-ups.
Crazy. They went crazy. Like, oh my God. Anyway, so we've got 2 units of those.
Yeah.
We then have, excuse me,
Good.
we have 3 units of Flamers. It's 3, 3, and 6. So,
Good stuff to have.
Just good stuff, right? The 3, I put the 2 units of 3 in Deep Strike every game so far. They come down and do actions, or they come down and shoot something if I happen to not need actions, whatever the case is. They are cheap and they're hard to screen out, and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
The 6-man, I start on the board and either put in where they can have line of sight of the middle objective or on like my natural expansion, and they overwatch and they shoot. And they just kind of sit there because they're annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't do so much damage that you're like, oh, this is the worst. But they do enough to where you're like, well, I lose the effectiveness of a unit if I just run it in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Bummer.
And there is a way, which doesn't matter, but there is a way to technically, you can make him strength 8 and it's pretty funny.
With the stratagem, right?
So the stratagem gets him to 7. So the strat is +2 strength, and then if you spend a flux token, it's +3 strength and +1 AP. So that gets him to AP 2, which is nice.
Okay.
And that gets them to strength 7. And then if they're close to the Lord of Change, they are a Zinch unit in the shooting phase, so they get +1 strength, putting them to 8.
So strength 8, AP 2, 1 damage flamers.
Yeah.
I hate it because you can
It's
end
pretty
up
funny.
because it's like what 66, right? Worth of shots on the 6-man.
Yep.
Really good. It's objectively
It's
great.
okay.
Yeah.
It's objectively great until you watch me roll flamer shots, and then it's less good.
That is one thing you're very bad at is rolling at the number of flamer shots. Like you were very on average, like way under average.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much the name of the game for flamers for me. That's pretty normal.
We all need a weakness, I guess.
I guess everyone's got one, right? Normally mine is 4-up invols. That was not the case in my third game. It wasn't. I did roll very well against you. My third game was like atrociously good.
Oh, like rude good?
Yes, rude good.
It's all right. There were a few of those.
There were a few of those. So the last unit that I have is the Burning Chariot, which is good. I have been convinced that it's good.
Yes.
It strips cover if you care. I don't super care because all of my shooting I care about is either dev wounds, really high AP, or already ignores cover.
Right.
But if I really wanted to, I could run him out there, shoot something that is not in line of sight, and then Karos can indirect and they don't have cover, which will be cool.
Yeah.
Theoretically, that's fantastic. That aside, it is 3 strength 9 damage 3 shots, which can be good. It's toughness 8, which is deceptively high.
Correct, yeah.
It doesn't have any useful keywords for my opponents, which is good.
Yeah.
But importantly, it has 6 screamer attacks.
So it can run into melee and just be brutal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's the exact same profile as screamers.
And which God's Chariot is this one?
It's Zinch. It's got the Exalted Flamer on the back of it.
I got it. Okay.
So it's not the character, it's the dude with just another flamer.
Yeah.
It's 115 points, so it's like in the realm of demons, it's pretty expensive. But it also hasn't really disappointed me yet.
Yeah, I think the chariots are good. I think all of them, for the most part, are solid.
Yeah. I'm not like opposed to it. I've messed around and like looked around and tried to see like, well, if I take it out, what will I take? And like 115 points is an awkward number where like I can have another unit that I don't need, but it's not enough to give me any of the units that I would want.
Okay.
So I don't really, at this point, I'm just kind of living with it. And it's a sick model. Most people don't see it, so it's cool.
Yeah, I agree. It was cool on the table, and it did work.
So that I am just myself. I am a fan of using models that people don't see very often.
Yeah,
and it's not bad, and it has not performed poorly at all. So I don't have a problem with it.
Great to hear.
But that's it. That's my list.
Okay. Speaking of models you don't see very often, let's talk about my list. My list I brought to this event included an Azrael, which you see in every Dark Angels list because 2 CP a turn is wonderful. Followed by a Samael, my handcrafted Samael, made from a Custodes jet bike. And he turned out great, and I really enjoyed putting him on the table.
Yes, beautifully crafted.
Yes, very happy with him. I brought 2 JPIs. I brought 2 sets of Deathwing Knights, one with maces, one with swords. I brought a Gladiator Reaper, which was very effective all day, except for the last game. I brought an Infiltrator squad because, of course, I'm a Marines player. You always bring Infiltrators. It's a Demon's world. I brought 6 Inner Circle Companions, which I believe is one of the best units in the entirety of the Dark Angels Codex, period, end of story. I like what they touch generally just dies, which is really phenomenally good.
Yep.
I brought a 3-man Outrider squad with an ATV that had a multi-melta, who was awesome. They hung out with Samael. And then 2 scouts, because of course, and 2 vindicators, because of course. I played Stormlance. I just wanted to feel the power of advance and charge army wide. And yeah, it was objectively a really high scoring and fun list to play.
It is very. It's terrifying knowing that the Deathwing Knights are going to start on the table and probably stay in your deployment zone, but when I go to the mid board, they will still be able to touch me.
Yeah, almost every time.
I don't like that.
Yeah, they represent Deathwing Knights represent such a big threat, and then when you also support it with the Inner Circle Companions, then you have 2 bricks that don't die and 1 brick that makes anything it touches die.
Yep.
Which
I
is
mean, that's literally what you had left at the end of our game. That and
yeah,
the infiltrators.
in the infiltrators, of course. Yeah. You just wait. Everything else, all your material, just slowly erodes, and then your Terminators show up and do work. As
Yep.
well as all your swords come in and do stuff. And it's a really, really fun list to play. I will say, actually, we'll recap at the end of this tournament recap when we get into list changes and stuff and why, specifically stuff that helps. So let's jump into game 1. What was your game 1?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So my game 1 was a guy who is semi-regular to Real Deal. He hasn't been there in a while, but he's semi-regular. Kid by the name of Scott. He plays Knights most of the time, which actually I lied. I didn't play Knights the first game because that's not what he played. I'm used to him playing Knights. He played Custodies.
Right.
Which I will say, and no, I do not mean any like rude shade or anything by it. If he asks for help, I will be absolutely more than willing to help. I'm terrified of Custodies as a demon player unless the list is bad.
Right.
So I won that game. What did we play? It was mission C. So it was Linchpin.
Yep.
I scored 13-8, 13-15 on primary.
Pretty good.
Yeah. He scored 0. And yeah, it was just pretty, it was a fairly wild like turn of events that happened during the game, but just like off the bat, he didn't have any Blade Wizards. He had 2 units of
it's an important model.
It is. He had 2 units of 6 or 2 units of 5 Wardens.
Okay.
But when
no
they're
wizards.
not advancing and charging, I'm not afraid of them.
Yeah, when you only move 6 inches.
Right. And on top of that, it's like I have D3 damage shooting, which sucks. Unless 5 out of your 7 rolls are 3s. And then it's great.
That's just rude.
When you look at D3, most people, and to be fair, it's not necessarily the wrong choice, but when you go, I'm going to shoot the Lord of Change at those Wardens, and they don't pop the Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
Then you kill 4 of them.
Well, it's because they have to pop it at the beginning of the phase.
Right. But then you go, well, here's, I guess 4 of them are dead, so I'm never afraid of them anymore.
Oof.
Something very similar happened to the other unit. The other unit didn't touch me until it had, I think, 3. He had shield captains with both of them, which is fine. He had 2 units of Terminators, 1 4-man, 1 5-man.
Oh, fascinating.
And they both started on the table.
Okay.
So mistake number, I don't know, 5.
Yeah, quite a few.
One of the big unit also had a shield captain who had the extra wounds. So he's like 9 wounds or whatever from shield host. Which is annoying because he, 1 turn changes all the damage to 1 and it lives, but then doesn't kill a greater demon, so it doesn't matter.
The lifeblood that is the new detachment.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just, he had a unit of Flamer Sisters, which sat on his home objective. He had Cotias.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Specifically because he wanted more CP.
Okay.
Which is fine. It got him 3 CP.
Okay.
So, it was also his last unit alive. So, maybe MVP.
Well, yeah.
No guard. No, nothing. Oh, he had a Caladius tank, the anti-tank one.
Okay. So he did have one thing that you could 75% chance live on every time it shoots at you.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yep. Yeah, so he just didn't get the chance to touch me with any full-size units, which just isn't enough.
Yep.
And that was kind of just the whole nature of it. The tank peeked out and shot and did no damage because it was also Fog of War, so he couldn't shoot me turn 1.
Of course.
And that was great. So when he shot at the Lord of Change on turn 2, he didn't do any damage, and then Be'lakor walked over and killed it.
Yep.
And like once that happened, half the Terminators were already dead, and one of the units of Wardens was dead. So I was like, yeah, we're done. This is no longer an issue. Hilariously enough, it was turn 2. Yeah. So turn 2, I drew Bring It Down, Establish Locus. And I shipped Bring It Down because he only had the 1 tank.
Okay.
And I didn't kill it until turn 3. And I didn't want to have to go that direction just to get 3 points.
Right.
So I changed it and I drew Marked for Death.
Of course.
Which didn't help. So he picked his hidden Terminators, his hidden sisters, and his Kotias, who was also hidden. So I deep struck 6 Flamers to shoot sisters on his home objective.
They're dead.
No.
Really?
Flamers are psychic weapons.
Oh.
So,
as it turns out.
It was hilarious. I absolutely wild. They deep struck turn 3. So turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. The Flamers and the sisters fought each other, shooting and fighting.
Okay.
For 3 turns.
Sounds boring.
It was awful. So I was like, I'm going to shoot at you. Roll your 4-ups. Okay, you failed 2. Roll your 3-ups. Shit, you're still alive.
Awful.
Oh, you're strength 4. I'm T4. I have a 4-up invul. And then I'm going to charge you because I'm still strength 4. And they're only toughness 3.
Right.
They're still making 3-up saves, which is fine.
Of course.
But they're wounding me on 5s, which is nothing.
Nope.
And they just noodle fought for the whole game until there was literally one of them left, and Be'lakor just happened to go that direction to take his home point and shot it and killed it. And it was silly. That was quite silly.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
But that's okay. Yeah. So I won that game 94-22. So
yeah, I mean, when you show up to a tournament, you don't bring an ideal list, this is going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal. The player skill can only go so far, and it really gets hampered when you play into someone who has a lot of player skill with a non-ideal list. So as long as you guys had fun, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. I mean, we had a good time. He did, I will say, because it was to his credit, and that was his moral victory takeaway. So Be'lakor got onto his home point to charge or to kill the sister and potentially Kotias.
Uh-huh.
But with the movement, I didn't want to try to make the charge into Kotias because it was just too much. So I charged into the sister, killed the sister, and then piled into Kotias. I had 6 wounds. Seems fine. Kotias is damage 3.
Oh.
And hit and wounded all of the times because he's also anti-demon.
Ooh, that's fun.
Which is hilarious.
A little bit, yeah.
I failed 2 saves, which is enough to die. I CP rerolled, I failed it again, and I died.
Hey, so chalk one up for Kotias.
Yeah, so Kotias did kill Be'lakor.
Okay.
Which was cool.
You know what? That is a moral victory.
Yeah. And he had Bring It Down, so good for him.
Hey, that's a lot of points. It's 6?
Yeah, 5? I don't know.
6 for the big models, yeah. Because he's over 20, right?
No, he is 20.
So that means he should be 6.
Yeah, 6 points. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Well, sounds like an easy one. I knew because you were done pretty quickly.
I was done pretty quick. Yeah, pretty
Yep.
quick. Yeah.
My first round was into Dale, I believe the owner of Real Deal, right? He fully
That is
owns that
correct.
store, correct? Yeah. Okay. Dale's very cool. He's given us a nice little section in the store's Discord so that we could post the show. And he has been very, very kind to me individually whenever I see him. So I took this chance to beat him into the dirt. He brought he brought orcs.
Yep.
And they are Dread Mob. And the list, unfortunately, was not quite, tournament standard tier. Mostly because of one model, the Morkanaut, which he revealed on turn 1, and a very healthy Vindicator ate its lunch. I didn't realize how sad the shooting was off of that platform. I expected there to be like 2 strength 12 guns in there. It's all strength 9 and 10, and Vindicators are T11. And so when you save on a 2-up and you have Armor of Contempt and cover, it literally takes no damage.
Yeah, it feels really bad.
It does. It feels really, really bad. I was able to systematically just kind of eliminate piece by piece by piece. And then when he went on his go turn in turn 3, I was able to respond with the Terminator Inner Circle package, having not lost very many units at all, and just kind of ran through him. There wasn't any particularly powerful hero unit that stepped in. It was just blow up a bunch of killicans. He had 12. And if there was a window I feel that Dale had, it would have been to just all in with everything to threat overload me. Because I only have so much stuff. Like, as a Space Marine player, you got your 10, 11 units, one of which never leaves your deployment zone.
Right. And it's a super risky play on his part. But if it works, he can win the game. And if it doesn't work, then it ends up pretty much the same as it was anyway.
Pretty much. Yeah. Overall, it was I think it was like 95 to 45, something like that. 93-48 win, or 95-48, something like that win for me. It was an overall fun game. We both had, it was fast. We both had time before round 2 or before lunch to hang out for a little bit. And great game, Dale. Thank you so much for being like a consummate great sport. Because I was
been
very
so nice
sweaty.
And you were rewarded
in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the game. And again, just a fun quick round 1. You and I had the top 2 scores of the round.
We did.
Which means that we played barely, in round 2.
But we did.
Yeah, it was really close.
Yeah.
So we played in round 2.
We sure did.
It was, for the first time, a very close game between us, which is super exciting.
That was a game.
It was so good.
If there's ever been one, that was a game. Yeah, there's so many things. There's like, I would say at least half a dozen individual instances that would have changed everything about that game.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yep.
Like, that game was absolutely wild. So the final score for that ended up being 81-75 me.
Super close.
Absolutely insane. And I mean, we talked about it, right? So it was, and I'm actually glad that we rolled out we talked it out, but also rolled it out the last, turn 5, what could happen.
Right.
I'm actually glad we went over that, because looking at it, I drew engage and assassinate. I couldn't do engage. I didn't have enough units. So I shipped it and I redrew into sabotage. And so sabotage was very doable for me at the time. But there were ways that it could have stopped, and if I don't score sabotage, then we tie.
Right.
Which is wild. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you had sabotage. What was
I
mine?
scored
I had
sabotage.
recover assets.
Yeah. Yeah. You managed to pull recover assets. There
I got
wasn't
recover
enough that
assets
you
and
could
no
kill.
prisoners.
Yeah.
Because I
That's
couldn't
right.
kill anything.
Yep.
And I was able to get exactly one unit in every table third.
Yep. And it like that worked out super perfectly because really what it came down to is like my secondary game was like money the whole time.
Yeah.
I was able to score constantly. But you kept me off of primary. I got 3 5s and a 10, which is a huge punch in the nads when it comes to trying to win a game. And it was just like
and Scorched Earth, notably.
And Scorched Earth, of course. Yeah.
Scorched Earth, I'm not tooting anything because that game was insane.
Yeah.
But not a difficult game to score 10 on.
No, not at all.
Just a wild game.
I was just too cautious in not.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, too cautious about trying to contain, like, keep my material up for when I was ready to go. Right. I probably should have just thrown a group of Deathwing Knights out onto an objective, my home objective or my expansion, just to hold it. But even then, like, you just threw stuff at it.
Even the middle objective, you could have. Yeah. Because as we found out, it takes everything I have to kill Deathwing Knights. So
yeah, all of
it. That game was absolutely wild. Yeah, I think you scored technically more than 40 secondary.
Effectively, yeah.
6, 10, so 10, 20, 30, 34, 36.
No, exactly.
You scored 41. 41.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The point is, you did what is like mathematically necessary. Is you scored a minimum of 7 secondary every turn.
Yes,
and by that I mean you scored 7 once, and the rest of them were 9 or more.
Yeah, I was really lucky with the secondary draw. But what's more than that is the list was capable of doing it, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, which is great because that has been a problem before.
Yeah.
But that was great.
Super fun game. I hope that we get another chance to play a couple games before the tournament. I probably won't bring this list, but we'll get into that.
That's fair.
I think that one of the hardest parts about this list, specifically into your list, is that it just doesn't have big stuff killing power outside of 2 units, really.
Right.
And that was what made it really difficult. The Samael and Brick of Bikes is cool and good, but falls pretty hard short to anything that is like.
That's fair. Yeah.
12 or 11 or whatever.
Right.
Because you depend on 5-ups.
It's one of those weird things where, like, in any other matchup, like, it's not a good idea. I am not, like, condoning the list, but in any other matchup it'd be awful. But in this matchup specifically, if that bike unit was another unit of Deathwing Knights and the Deathwing Knights were what was in the middle instead of the bikes, then you win the game.
Yep. Pretty easily, actually, because they just don't die.
But I don't think that you should bring 15 Deathwing Knights. I'm just saying, in that instance, it would have worked.
15 Death Knights, Deathwing Knights work sometimes in some lists, but you have to be so crisp with everything that you do.
Yeah.
And you have to drop the luxury of, like, the inner circles, I think. And then you drop so much chaff that you just, or not chaff, but, like, you have your extra stuff that you you have a few really chunky, powerful things, but then you just run out of stuff. And that feels worse.
Yeah. You end up, you're playing Monster Mash without the monsters.
Yeah.
And it's such a slippery slope to be on.
Certainly. So that's game 2. It's very fun. And you go on into the undefeated bracket. I go into the defeated bracket. And we'll talk about my game and then jump into yours, which I played against Cody.
Yep.
Cody's a great dude. I've played against.
He's a great
this is
dude.
second time I've played against Cody.
Yep.
We always end up talking hobby for like the entire time that we're there.
Yeah, which is fair. If there's someone to talk to about that, Cody's nights are sick.
Spectacular. So just special shout out for Cody. He does these deep sea nights. Everything is converted. Everything is beautifully painted. Everything's like crisp, sharp.
Yep.
It's not all mucky and grimy.
And not like when we say deep sea, it's not like BioShock Votan that I've seen online. It's like it's heroic knights fighting like sea monsters. They're like there's krakens and shit on his base, and they're like throwing him around and like that kind of thing. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's spectacularly cool. Last time we played, he was playing an experimental AdMech list, and I smoked him. This time, he was on his main army, these knights, and the man couldn't miss. He rolled the number of 4s and 5s and 6s that man rolled the entirety of the game was astonishing. Like, he was like, this is insane. I don't know how this happens.
Yep.
This is the best luck I've ever had, and I'm sitting here just like pulling my hair out trying to get through this game. Like,
I watched for all of like 30 seconds and was like, holy shit. Because I was like, oh, what's going on? And you were like, it's not going well. And then he rolled and I was like, oh,
yeah,
it's going like that.
He couldn't fail a save, which was incredible. Yeah. I believe it took me my entire army to kill one knight in like turn 2, and he had 3 big ones. And I was like, oh, like normally speaking, like Vindicator +1 will almost kill a knight every time. And he could not, like, everything was a 5-up. It was amazing that he rolled so well. I'm so happy he got that game in.
We did joke about the fact that he somehow managed to load his hands, not his dice.
Loaded his hands. They were amazing.
Absolutely wild. So
yes. Overall, fun game. I was just battling. I was scrapping. I'm like I was shook. I fell apart. I was like getting mean about it. So bless him for all of his patience. As my cool was totally uncooled. And we had an overall, like, it was a fun game. I scored 80 points that game somehow.
You did. Yeah.
So it was 100 to 80 for him.
And I will say second, I guess, I don't know, 5th maybe at this point, shout out for Cody. We talked about last time about like people bringing you back off of that, or just anybody, us as players bringing our opponents off of that ledge. Cody is phenomenal at that. So
yeah, he was super nice the whole time, and then we just kind of hung out for the rest, because we were done in like an hour. It did not take long,
dog. Not fast enough.
But yeah, no, it was super fun. So that was my game 3. I go 1 and 2 in the tournament, which for me doesn't happen very often, which was fun and humbling and cool.
Fair.
Yeah. And let's talk about your game.
Yeah. So I played my 3rd game into one of the other undefeateds, which was a guy by the name of Rigo, who I think is newer to the area, or at least the shop. He's not new to 40K. He is he's a very knowledgeable player. He is good. He understands like competitive play and tactical reasoning and all that. Unfortunately for this one, the dice were very much against him. He was playing just a pretty standard, I think, Imperial Knights Noble Lance. It was Canis Rex, one of the, I think it's a Castellan. In Chaos Knights, it's the Tyrant, the bigger knight. And then 3 of each. So he had 3 of the autocannon armigers and 3 of the thermal meltagun armigers.
Oh, so 3 Helverins and 3... I forget the name of them. Yes, the ones with the chainsword.
Yes,
thing.
Chainsword, meltagun. Yeah, so he had the the Calidus Assassin, super normal.
Yep.
And then I think it's the Eversor. It's the I don't know, the super fighty one.
Is it the Eversor? Yeah. Is that the one that explodes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it's the Eversor.
It was the one that explodes.
Yeah, it has like I can go 15 inches on a
Yeah.
turn and
Yeah, it's
fight
the like
real
I can
good.
either
Yeah.
advance in charge or I can get a bajillion attacks or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had those, which is cool. He put one of the fighty armigers in Strat Reserve. And I put my normal flamers in Deep Strike, as is tradition. We played Mission A, so it was take and hold, and raise banners, which is important.
Yep.
I went first, which was hilarious. I drew Sabotage and Extend Battle Lines.
Easy.
So my 2 units of blue horrors that were not previously on the objective in No Man's Land just moved an inch and stepped onto the objective.
Of course they did.
My unit of flamers moved into the piece of terrain that was just outside of my deployment zone to sabotage. One, they were behind a wall, so they weren't getting shot anyway.
Yeah, that little sliver right outside. Yep.
Yeah, it's got the V that's just outside your deployment zone.
Yep.
And my thought process is if he wants to stop it, that will be an incredible amount of overextension, and I will proceed to win the game.
And he tried to stop it, I assume?
He did not.
Oh, good for him.
Very good. Very smart. That is the right play. And then one of the units of blue horrors I strung out, so they were touching the middle objective and one of the other ones. And I had my demonettes on my home objective, and I raised 3 banners on turn 1, which was great. So
awesome.
I raised banner number 4 on turn 2, and I went, well, I guess I'm done doing that. And moved on. It was pretty crazy. Turn 2, I got Engage and Cleanse, which was just another 8 points for free.
Just standing. The Blues didn't even move.
He did kill the Blues.
Oh, okay.
Well, he killed 1 unit. The 2 assassins were on the left side of the battlefield. He killed both. He killed that unit of Blues. And then the Blues that were on the other side, he sent like 2, or he shot at with like 2 War Dogs, which just isn't enough to kill them.
No.
And they split and existed and were annoying. Which is fine.
Yeah.
But that was them pretty much. He got Extend Battle Lines.
Okay. Easy.
On turn 1. So he scored 5 points. He drew Mark for Death. And
Bummer.
So, of course, he redrew it.
Yeah, as we do.
And drew No Prisoners, which was effectively the same thing.
Woof.
So that was just kind of that.
Yep.
And then turn 2, he drew Cleanse and Establish Locus. Neither of those were doable.
Ouch.
So turn 2, the way that I had it like set up, there's that L that's in your deployment zone, and
yeah,
I had the Soul Grinder behind it, the Lord of Change in the crook of it, outside of it, but in the crook of it, Be'lakor right beside him, and Kairos was just behind it because the gap in the wall was big enough to walk through.
Yeah.
And so they didn't move on turn 1. All I did was, the Blues and the Flamers just scored 9 points and we moved on.
Yep.
Turn 2, they all jumped to the middle.
Okay.
And I used the Zine strat that I now love to just Kool-Aid the Soul Grinder through the wall. So everything, because he had moved out a little bit to try and get some shots, and so then all 4 of the monsters went, bah!
Yeah, of course. So you can just have the biggest go turn ever.
Yeah. So I killed 4 armigers.
Oh, as a knight player, if you lose 4 armigers in a turn, the game is over.
But we're not done.
Oh boy.
So Bellicor was standing on the middle objective.
All right.
Maybe not 4. I killed 3 armigers. I killed 3
Okay.
armigers. Doesn't matter.
That's an acceptable loss.
Doesn't matter. Well, no, because I killed all 3 of the Helverins, and so all of his anti-fly was gone.
He exposed the Helverins?
Yeah, because he shot at me.
So, at what?
He put them within 18 of Bellicor so that he could shoot me.
Ah, I see.
So he played a little aggressive.
A little bit too. You can't, not in that matchup. Everything flies.
So the Castellan was not visible. Well, it was. He just towed it onto that V.
Yeah.
So that he could shoot, which was fine. Fine being a relative term. He killed the remainder of the blues and did like 5 damage to the Soul Grinder.
Oh, how tremendous.
Anywho, so he wasn't like, he was visible. I could shoot him. Not what I was interested in.
Right.
I proceeded to kill Helverins. After that, after the honestly incredible effect that was my shooting phase, because there was one Armiger or Helverin, whatever, that I had left alone because there were screamers right in front of it, and I said, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, like, I shot, I think, the Chariot at it to just chip off the first couple of wounds, and then the screamers went in and picked it up.
Yep.
As they do.
Because of course they did.
They're insane. The other unit of screamers killed the assassin with their flyby.
Oh.
Which was hilarious.
Super rude. Okay.
It was pretty cool. I don't know what you're talking about. It was pretty cool. Bellicor was then, so I finished my shooting phase. I charged with the screamers. They make it, obviously. I charged with the Soul Grinder. He failed. And I was like, I think it's fine. Like, I don't need it.
Sure.
Pretty much the only thing that's going to shoot at him that I'm afraid of is Canis. And if I lose the Soul Grinder, that's the only thing that Canis shot at, and that's fine. And then I was looking at the Castellan, and I was looking at Bellicor, and I thought, why not? And Bellicor roll, and we hadn't measured it. I just said, I'm going to try this charge. And I rolled it, and Bellicor, I rolled an 8. And I was like, maybe? And he went, I don't know. That's pretty close. And then, like, we both leaned over and looked at it, and it was like 8.8. And I was like, oh, great. So I made it.
Oh, no.
Bellicor did not kill the Castellan. Funny.
Amazing. Okay.
He put it to 3.
Oh, well. Can't be perfect, I suppose.
I can't. Yeah. He can't do everything, I guess.
No, that's what the screamers are there for.
That's what the screamers are there for. Anyway, so he put the Castellan to 3. The Castellan fights, doesn't hurt him. As is the way. He goes into his turn. There's 2. He's got Canis. He's got a fighty dude on his home objective who got shot by flamers because I can. And that was pretty much he had all 3 of his fighty dudes and Canis. And so he went, well, I guess I have to kill Bellicor now, which is fair.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, he already tried it once. Let's try it again, right?
Right. I had previously, because I thought maybe this will do something. So on my turn, because that's when I have to do it, right? So at the start, the shadow ability that I chose was the Battle Shock one.
Interesting.
Because I said to myself, I'm going to put Bellicor in the middle. And if I don't kill these dogs, then they'll take Battle Shock.
Right.
Well, I killed the dogs,
Oh.
but then he was in his deployment zone.
Oh no.
So the way that it is the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase. If an enemy unit that is below starting strength is within 9 inches of Bellicor, they take a Battle Shock test. Yeah. And
So
then
he becomes a war dog.
He becomes a war dog,
Or
right?
a chaos knight for a round.
Right. No Man's Land has never been more in my shadow than it is right now. So it's at -1 as well. But the change, so it meaning when he fails Battle Shock, he takes damage.
Right.
Right. He takes his D3 mortal wounds or whatever.
Yeah.
So, the change to it is now also every unit that fails Battle Shock, in addition to them taking the D3 mortal wounds, Bellicor heals D3.
So he's a unlimited use chaos knight of the terror or of the grenade strat. They're the healing grenade strat.
Yeah. Unreal.
Unreal indeed. How many wounds did he heal here?
7. So all of his fighty dogs were wounded. He failed Battle Shock on 2 of them. Importantly, he failed Battle Shock on the one that was on his home objective.
Oh no.
Which is why he scored 0 primary. He failed on the Tyrant, who took, I think, 1 mortal wound. So he lived. He didn't die from the mortal wounds, but right. he failed 3 was the deal. Bellicor heals 7, puts himself back up to 18. Virtually unkillable at this point.
Right.
He shoots him with everything, as he should. He
Yes.
does not fall back because he does not want to die.
Correct.
And he's already at -1 to hit anyway because he's bracketed and I have stealth, and so it just doesn't matter.
Right.
So he stays in combat. He shoots. So he's got his 3 Melta Lance thingies. He's got Canis Rex, who is healthy.
Yep.
And he's got the big knight in combat who has like the Volcano Lance and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I proceeded to very rudely pass 10 out of 12 4-ups.
You're a jerk.
The 2 4-ups that I failed were just damage 2 weapons. To his credit, all of his Meltas and the Volcano Lance hit and wounded.
You just disrespected that shit. That's all.
Yep.
All
just didn't care.
Yep.
So then he charges with 2 of the fighty dogs. Which is then when I was reminded at how much worse Imperial Knights are than Chaos Knights. So.
Scenario dependent, but yes.
Yes, scenario dependent. I'm used to a war dog charging me and I die.
Right.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, corn dogs are better than warglaives.
Like, warglaives have like no attacks. I think it's 4.
They're like 5, 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Really low.
It's damage 3.
I thought they were D6.
Maybe? I think it's damage 3.
Like D6 plus 2 or something like that?
No, definitely not that. I'm going to look right now.
Yeah, let's check.
Yeah, it's 3. It's 4 attacks, 10, 3, 3.
Oh, that's awful. Okay.
It's awful.
It's so bad.
It's also where Bellicor becoming T11 mattered again.
Oh, so he had to roll 5s on his 4 attacks or whatever.
Yep.
Oh, no. Not like this.
Yep, like this. So he fought with one. I At that point, he wounded once. I made the save. Was like, yeah, that's fine. Uh, he was like, "Do you want to interrupt?" I was like, "No, it's fine." He fought, did I think 2 wounds, and I failed to save. Took 3 damage. Cool.
Yep.
Bellicor fought, killed the Castellan. Castellan blew up. Killed one of the Warglaves. Cool. um, and then we go into my turn 3, where I killed the other 2 Warglaves and the Calidus, because the Eversor was already dead. Put Canis down to 10.
Okay.
And then passed to his turn. Because I drew Secure No Man's Land and Defend Stronghold on turn 3. My Demonettes never moved. They
Didn't
just
have
sat
to.
there.
Yeah.
We go into his turn 3, and before we even look at secondaries, he was like, well, so what I'm gonna do, or he rapid ingressed the Armiger that was in Strat Reserve into my deployment zone.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Which, like, at first I was a little concerned about, but then as the turn continued and I killed everything, now it doesn't matter. We go into his turn 3. He draws his secondaries, which are Storm, Hostile, and Containment.
Okay.
He has 2 units.
Big sad.
So he looks at him and he goes, yeah, I think we could probably talk it out.
Yep.
And we do.
Might as well call it there,
yeah. So realistically, like, at most, he could have gotten Storm Hostile on my home objective. The dog just goes and touches the Demonettes, but also potentially not, because if he doesn't kill enough of them, then they just pile on, and I'll just
Right.
out OC him.
Which,
Well, he's OC 8, so I guess he would have to kill 1.
yeah,
Possible.
easy enough.
At the rate that he had been rolling, and to his credit, with as good as my rolls were, his were the opposite. Like his
Happens all the time.
his turn 2 shooting, when he stepped out to shoot at Bellicor, it was like, because the whatever Armigers, the shooty ones,
Oh, the Helverins?
Helvrins, they've got 4 shots, 6 shots.
I believe
6.
it's 8.
Maybe it's 8. It's 8. Yeah. So they've got 8 shots. With he was able to shoot with all 3 of them, and none of them, not one of them, with night rerolls, not one of them hit more than twice.
No, they hit on 3s.
So
yeah, so that game was just doomed, and it's fine. It happens.
yeah, and that happens. And like we were looking at it there, like during that turn, during his turn too, because like I hadn't really killed anything yet. Like, so it's still a game, and just that was just so wildly unsuccessful.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And like, that's how he rolled for like all of them.
Yeah.
I was just shocked. And then when his shooting was effective, then I made all of the saves, and then all of his stuff was dead. So then we were like, all right, well, hey, I guess we're done. So,
right.
Unreal. So in the like wrap up there, Bellicor is T11, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The Battle Shock aura, if planned correctly, hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
Unbelievable. I didn't like, even when I picked it, I didn't realize that it healed. I was purely thinking, this will be cool if I don't kill these Armigers and he fails Battle Shock and takes mortal wounds.
Yeah.
And then when it came up, we read it again, and I was like, oh my God, I'm also going to heal?
What have we done?
Holy shit. It's insane. So good.
Really good.
So good.
All right.
So yeah, that was that. I won that. So we called it effectively end of my turn 3. So pretty much the exact halfway point of the game. We just scored it out because he would have nothing left.
Right. At some point, you just kind of have to call it.
Yep. So we scored it out, and that one ended at 100-22.
All right. So your tournament, you had a couple of curb stomps, and then we had a good game.
Yep.
And then I had a curb stomp, a really good game, and then a really bad game.
A curb stomp, just the other way.
Yeah. And then I got curbed.
But it wasn't a curb stomp. It was 100-80. That's a fantastic game.
It was the highest scoring, like, lopsided game of my life. It was very fascinating. Sure. But yeah, good tournament, buddy. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
We'll quickly go through my Sunday tournament. So I put myself through a 6-round GT over the course of the weekend. Just 2 RTTs instead. For my next trick, here, let me pull up my list here. I went to the Dragon Parlor over in Spokane, where we went, and it was about 10 of us there. I think it was 9 in total, so there was a bye, sadly. Okay. There was like 4 people signed up, and then everyone signed up the night before. Okay. Which is always very fun. And the list that I brought, let me bring it up here, was Ultramarine Stormlance instead. I just wanted to try it out to see how it would play, similarly to the one that I made with Dark Angels.
Yeah.
I didn't go. I mean, if there was a build I would want to really try, it's John's with the Raven, the Storm Raven, which I'll one day give that a shot, but I gotta get it painted up. It is a very specific kind of Stormlance build.
Yes.
But this one was Chaplain on Bike with Fury of the Storm, which made him hit very hard, which I forgot to utilize the whole time I was playing at the tournament. A lieutenant, so not a lieutenant with combi, but a lieutenant, the one that gives lethal to the squad, partnered with Marnius Calgar and a brick of Blade Guard, which was my meme unit.
Sure.
I just wanted to try it. I've been wanting to try that brick for so long, and we'll talk about it.
Really good.
Can be.
At their point cost, they're really good.
Yes, they are, but not. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yep.
And of course, Roboot Gilliman. Then of course we had one group of JPIs. We had 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, a Blade Guard Vet squad, an Infiltrator squad, an Outrider squad, 2 Scouts, and 2 Vindicators. There's a theme in all of my lists here: 2 Scouts and 2 Vindicators. Right. So strange. My first game was into Josh, Mr. Fish. He spells it Ghoti. He's a social media creator himself. And he is an orc player through and through. He's someone who's been working on his competitive play for the last year or so, really trying to be a better player. Yeah. He was really excited to pair into me because I'm one of the better Marine players in this area. And he was really excited to get a good game in with Marines. He brought Warhorde Orcs, and I really didn't have much trouble getting through most of his stuff. He kind of just fed me little bit by little bit rather than kind of trying to overwhelm me and threat saturate me. And I win 95-51 in that game. It took us about the whole round. Josh likes to talk. He's a real good talker. And so we didn't get through it quickly. I'm normally through my games fairly fast.
Yeah.
But we had a really fun time. It was a very fun game overall. He kept us cool the whole time. I had some really bad dice. He had some really bad dice. Like, it didn't feel like it was cheap. I just outplayed him in the end.
Sure.
My second game, and they use random pairings for this one, which I think is kind of crazy. So I get paired, technically the quote unquote pair down, into Wyatt, whom we both know. And Wyatt brought his like typical break the castle CSM Renegade Raiders list, which includes a bunch of Vindicators and Predator, as well as some bikes to score, like all the basic Renegade Raider stuff, nothing special. The only thing that he brought that was a little different was 2 bricks of Possessed. And boy, oh boy, you want to talk about like, so I did one very stupid thing early in the game. On round 2, I more or less fed him the Calgar unit because I had a really big advance and a really big charge, which just more or less means I gave it to him. And he just killed Calgar. But the really frustrating thing about this game was how badly I got diced. Like, it was again another circumstance where he was like, "Oh my god," and I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Just watching his dice versus my dice, it was crazy. Renegade Raiders rules, if you're lucky, like just CSM rules in general, if you're lucky, are insanely good.
Yeah.
And Wyatt was very lucky that game. He'll admit to it too. I will admit that once I made that play with Calgar, I had lost the game. But it didn't have to feel that bad.
Sure.
It could have been a much closer game, and it should have been a much closer game. As like, you know, the one las cannon he'd snuck through with a Predator did 7 wounds to a thing, like through smoke and armor of contempt, mind you, and a reroll.
Yes.
Yeah, it was that kind of game.
Yep.
He then charged Chosen, and a warp and a spider, one of those stupid spider things.
Yeah.
Into a Ballistus Dreadnought and a low wound Vindicator, the one that took the 7 random wounds.
Ooh. Did he kill them both?
He killed them both. Wounding on 5s, mind you, on both of these units. And on the top side of the map, with a Possessed brick, kills Gilliman and another Ballistus Dreadnought in the same combat, in the same fight phase. Mind you, all of them wound on 5s. He rolled,
right, but Possessed have dev wounds.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a real quick second. So he rolled 22 of his wounds. 8 of them were dev wounds.
Oh my god!
And he didn't even roll the other half of the dice. Like, I had to yell it. I was yelling it in the store, just like, Wyatt, how many dice was that? And how many 6s? Like, I was just bad. But anyway, I get crushed this game. It was so bad. It was like 90-40 or something. Anyway, we get through that miserable game, and then we play into. It was a great game, Wyatt. We always have fun. Getting mad, and
at least the misery didn't last long.
No, we were done so fast. That was literally like on in 3. It was like, are we done? Like, yeah, we're done. Yeah. Oh, also Gilliman didn't get back up. Yeah, it was rough. And then in game 3, I paired into Dina, who brought Shadow Legion, and so that was a really interesting game. Dina and I always have really, really good games. This was an 87-80 win for me.
Wow.
And we did not leave our deployment zones until turn 4.
Okay.
So, because we both just kept drawing cards that were stay safe. We were playing the ritual. So, and I had bottom of turn. So I'm like, I have no reason to move forward. Right. Literally none. And they were pretty happy and are very, like, always concerned. Because, like, I'm not a bad player. If you give me an inch, I'm going to take a mile, typically speaking. And so Dean is very careful when we play. And overall, it was a very fun game. Like, it was like white knuckling the whole time.
Right.
as we were playing through. Super fun overall. I pull the right secondaries at the end of the game, have bottom of turn scoring. I know exactly what I needed to do, and I pulled like assassination and something else on the bottom of the fifth turn,
Sure.
and there was a big demon standing in the middle of the battlefield, and I was able to just take it down. So yeah, overall it was super fun. Had Dina attempted to threat overload me early, I think I lose, just because I always feel that way if I get threat overloaded as a Space Marine player. Like, if you give me the opportunity to pick my angles, I'm going to have an advantage almost always.
Yeah, but if all of your hammers have to look at different things, it gets really weird.
It gets real squirrely then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, super fun game. I hope that Dina and I get to play again soon. They are part of our BFH team, along with Wyatt.
That was,
but yeah.
How many Havocs was it?
They had 2 units of Havocs.
True.
Which
were they last cannons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they had the 2 Havocs. They had Bloodthirster.
Yep.
Obviously Bellacore.
Yep.
I
saw they were because
2 Screamers.
I was watching the chat, and did they have Legionnaires?
Yes, a 5-man of Legionnaires with a Chaos Lord.
Why?
For the free uppy downy.
Okay.
For the two separate units.
Yep.
It worked out really well. I thought that was actually one of the more clever things. And when that unit got in, like, oh my god, it crushed like most of Calgar's unit of Blade Guard.
Yeah, I mean, a Chaos Lord is still just he's gonna
like
fuck
nuclear. Yeah.
I guess with the first Shadow Legion list that I built, I had a very similar like purposed unit, but it was Raptors and a Jump Lord, but it's the same thing. And it doesn't matter since everything has Deep Strike. You can just do it with Legionnaires,
right?
Which makes sense because the Jump Lord does not have the Happy Birthday stuff. So
I will say I'm that all of us were actually very thoroughly unimpressed with the Havocs.
Okay.
They don't do anything. It's like 4 shots that just miss.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have any support.
Yeah. Without any, like, of course they have, it's one of those, if you get hot and like roll lethals and, land 2 or 3 lethals, and then maybe sneak a wound through, like, sure, you can end up doing quite a bit of damage, but they didn't do anything. Neither unit did a thing. It landed like a wound on a dreadnought.
I'm way more interested because that list, just the nature of the way that list is going to get built, it doesn't need the Havocs to deal with tanks.
Nope.
Bellacore and the Bloodthirster will kill a tank every turn.
Yep.
As in a tank a piece every turn.
Yeah.
And then
easily.
So like on paper, I'm much more interested in have a unit of Havocs with the chain cannons.
Just to deal with chaff, yeah.
Because you have the ignore cover strat.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Those things are 8 shots a piece.
Woo. Which
is pretty wild. But even then, like, heavy bolters are interesting with ignore cover. Auto cannons are interesting with ignore. Like, there's a lot. I'm significantly less interested in las cannons.
Yeah, having them drop in and like dust an infantry unit or something of the sort. Like, I think that is gonna overall play better. Like, I was definitely on the Havoc train with las cannons for like when I first heard about it. That made the most sense. But after like actually playing against it, yeah, I think that there is just a better way to play them because that army needs to play like generally just honestly, I think it needs to play aggressive.
Yeah,
like hyper aggression. Like you are constantly sending in that Bloodthirster. Like you constantly bring it in with you put it up after it kills something, and then you bring it in with on your opponent's at the end of your opponent's movement turn.
I just don't like having. I'm aware that it's good. I just personally don't like having to rely on rapid ingress every turn.
Sure, but
it is very strong.
But yeah, you do that and you just knock out. Let's say you knock out 3 threats doing that, right? 2-3 threats doing that, or you can't pick it up, they don't end up killing it because there's never a guarantee you're going to kill a demon, right?
Sure.
And it kills 2 or 3 big things. It's done its job. It's cleaved through half of the army, and it's out of position at this. And like now, you like the person dealing with that bloodthirster is largely out of position and out of units for that most part.
Right.
So like you got to get that thing in and going is how I see it.
I love that like style, and it's the way that when I was I mean, this is 9th edition, but when I was playing Monster Mash, like that's how I played it. What I really enjoyed is because the natural state of like a competitive game is that swirl in the center, and you just don't do that. Because you just go, I'm going to put the Bloodthirster this way, and then I'm going to put Bellicor this way. And you can swirl if you want. I don't know what one you're wanting to go into.
Right. Yeah, it's but yeah, the Bloodthirster is terrifying. Obviously Bellicor is very good. Yep. I had of all the greater demons I fought over the weekend, I had the least issues with Bellicor. Sure, the 18-inch blob is annoying, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just
he doesn't have anything like T11 is his defense,
right?
And like it's still a 4-up. You fail 4-ups and he will die. Like he will still die.
He's very strong in combat. He's very like his shooting is dreadfully annoying. But when it comes down to it, like he's just a guy. So overall,
you basically just looked at him.
Oh yeah, you sent him in a little aggressive in my inner circle of companions.
I did, and to be fair, he did what I wanted him to. Yeah. It was probably not what he should have done.
Probably not.
But he did what I wanted him to do. And that was fine.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, you made a choice that helped you win the game. So
yeah,
that worked out well. But yeah, that was my tournament. Now, we're on the about 90-minute mark here, but we'll talk about both lists and why I'm leaning towards Ultramarines. So the biggest thing about the Dark Angels list is it just doesn't kill big stuff. And I played 2 groups of demons and had extremely narrow games both times with both lists. The moment I went into Knights, I was like, I depend on 5-ups because Dark Angels don't get the +1 to wound, obviously. And that just feels bad. So I think going with the Ultramarines is the smarter play for me at this stage for a tournament play. And I think I'm just going back to Gladius because I just like Gladius. It's a comfort pick for me at this stage.
Yeah.
I've played it on and off for the better part of 2.5 or 2 years or so now.
Yep.
And I absolutely love the detachment. Even with all the nerfs that have come into it, it's just fun to play.
Well, and there's so much to be said just about familiarity. We were actually talking about that this week in my team Discord. One of my teammates, Matthew, was talking about it because that was a very similar thing happened to him last year. He went to Dallas Open with a list that he was incredibly familiar with, that he had built himself. Every single unit had a purpose and he knew what it was. And he went 6-2. Fantastic job. And then he went to Lone Star Open the next month and took a list that was basically just a conglomerate of the meta units, but he didn't know what like their tactical job in the list was because he hadn't played it and he wasn't used to it, and he went 2-4. And it's just there's so much to be said about like that, just list familiarity. It doesn't have to be the meta choice if you know how to play it.
Exactly. So I'm doing a little bit of both, going with list familiarity as well as the meta choice, because really, when it comes to Space Marines, Ultramarines, Gladius is pretty much the way to play. I think Stormlance is the better performer right now, but that requires some nuance there to actually know and understand how that list works. So the list I'm going to run, probably, that I'm leaning very heavily into, is starting with a Captain of Gravis armor with Artificer armor. So he's that little mini Catan running around the board. He just doesn't die. Lieutenant with Combi for a lone op, because yay lone ops, and reroll ones to wound on the center objective. Calgar Gilliman, obviously. Then 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, because I love the Ballistus Dreadnought. It's just too effective of a piece not to bring at 140 points.
That's fair.
They often, I will have them hold corners, or 2 of them holding your expansion objective is objectively one of the best things you can have. Holding your expansion objective. It's very good.
That's fair.
And then Company Heroes to go hang out with Calgar, because that unit, I love that unit. It's so efficient.
That unit's insane.
Yeah. A Reaper, which proved incredibly valuable against you. I just killed 1 brick of blues per activation, which was, I think, is what kept our game as close as it was.
Yeah, that's fair.
An Infiltrator Squad, 2 Scouts, 2 Vindicators, and then I added the Storm Speeder Hammer Strike, which is going to do the cover stripping and make it so everything that I do when it comes to the shooting phase, which is most of this list, is just ever that much more effective.
Right. It also
that's at least a
it's
list.
What got missiles and a las cannon.
It has a Melta Destroyer.
That okay.
Yeah. So it's got a Melta Destroyer, some missiles.
Yeah. It has a
36-inch missiles.
It has a non-inconsequential amount of shooting.
Yeah, the damage is good. The range is solid. The 18-inch range is painful, but like 36-inch missile, that's what you need to hit with in order to apply the debuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it moves 12, right? So it's a 30-inch Melta.
14-inch. Oh, so it's a 32-inch Melta.
That's fine. Is it strength 9?
It is strength. Strength 9.
No, that's sad, but okay.
And only Melta 2. So,
is it more shots?
It is 3 shots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Little tri-cannon off the nose. So those are my thoughts towards what I'm going to be doing towards the storm. What about you, man? What are you thinking?
I think I'm pretty locked in. This detachment is like unreasonably fun to play. It allows me to do the things that I want to do, which is still have big monster demons. I can still play them pretty aggressively because I have Bellicor and the Soul Grinder. I have 2 very big shooting threats. The Soul Grinder does also shoot, not incredibly well, but he also shoots. Like, it does everything that I want a demon list to do. And like there are changes that I wish that I could make. I just can't afford them. And like I said, the only thing that I'm really even thinking about changing is the Chariot, but there's nothing that I could change it to that I think I would be really happy with. Cause like it's 115. If I dropped it for like the Changeling, which is objectively a phenomenal unit, the Changeling's 90, 25 points isn't enough to do anything with.
No.
And I'm just not going to play a list 25 points down. That's crazy. So like, it's weird. But again, the Chariot hasn't let me down, so that seems fine. The list is super fun. It is good. I do have to play it. I can't just play it super aggressive and expect to live. It's not just Monster Mash. There is tactic to it, and I do really enjoy that. The detachment is hilarious. The strats are amazing. And like, yeah, you know, I'm expecting to run into good opponents like you and even like Rigo. To his credit, the score was not close. That's unfortunate dice, really. But like, you guys both did the right thing, which is to not give the dice back.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my flux tokens. Don't give them back.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to generate more, but it's better for me to have 1 at a time than to have 4.
Yeah, I think there is a moment where you sell out. Like near the end of the game, when it's when you are trying to kill the big thing, that's when I should have sold out and just like, here's all your tokens back.
Yeah.
And just handed you a lot more saves on stuff. And I think that helps tilt the game in my favor. But like at that point, you're just gambling, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But at to the same credit, like that if you don't give me the tokens back, it forces me to play the game the way that I should play the game, which is carefully.
Right.
Whereas when I run into the people who do give them back all the time, I get to just do whatever I want. Like, I've played, I think 6 games now with this detachment, and it's the games that I have played where my opponents were consistently giving me the tokens back. I'm ending games with 4 or more CP remaining.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Because I just never spend CP on a reroll. I won't need it.
That's ridiculous. And I get 30 per game.
Like, yeah. I mean, I'm getting 2, right? I'm getting 3 effectively every round. But like, it's just so strong. It's so good.
Yeah, I think it's a really good army for catching people out. Who aren't necessarily paying attention to things, who don't understand the 75% I'm going to pass this save mechanic that it offers. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it. I was a super big skeptic of bringing that list in general, like before, just because I was like, okay, Matt Morrisoli won with it. Are you Matt Morrisoli? I think, and then I'm sure Dina's going to make me eat my words when it comes to it. Because they were 100% like, this is a good list. We should play this list.
Well,
like,
and we talked about it, right? We talked about it when we did the demon review, that we were like, yeah, this list is like, this detachment's cute.
Yeah.
Like, I see how it's good. I see how people are winning, but it's not crazy.
Right.
And to be fair, it's not crazy.
It's not.
But it is so good.
Yeah, it's good.
It does what demons do anyway, which is rewards the demon player if they are good.
Yeah.
But then it is also punishing the opponent if they don't know what they're doing. And Absolutely. That's a really wild like place to be, that you're getting rewarded and your opponent is punishing themselves. And it's wild. And like, I don't know, it's funny to just, offer rerolls when you roll really bad.
It's so funny.
Like, that happened. Like, you go, oh man, all 3 of your volcano lance shots missed. You could re-roll all 3 of those. You have the tokens.
You want to re-roll them? You want to give me some stuff back? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
And the answer's no, and that's fair. But it's funny to ask. So
it feels even better to be on the other side and you understand. You're like, no, I'm good.
Yep.
I'm all right. I'm not going to give you that back. Anyway, hey, it's been about an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're probably.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for being here. I think we're done for the day. Next week, we'll be back probably to reconfirm list stuff. We'll talk about something different. I'm not sure if I actually even want to talk about Death Guard at this stage. But we'll get there. Everyone's talking about Death Guard right now.
That's fair. I mean,
that's boring.
I mean, I guess they look pretty good, but it might be more boring to talk about World Eaters because that's just going to be complaining.
Fair enough. So we'll figure it out.
Though.
So again, thank you all so much for coming. Again, I'm Jeremy, all day 40K Nakano. You can catch me over on TikTok. You can also find me over on the Best in Tabletop on Mondays, playing Gage Rexon, the Rogue Trader. Oh. And with me, as always, is Joey Bettingfield.
That's me. You can find me over on Instagram, Bettingfield Painting. I do also technically exist on Facebook, but I don't post there, so that's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you guys the next time. Appreciate you being here. Have a good one.
See ya.